Live.
Okay, welcome everybody to our compound stock earnings slash micro moment trading webinar. No, this isn't a webinar. This is our podcast. And welcome everybody. Be sure and go to our website, www.micromomenttrading.com, which has also combined with that the compound stock earnings. Find out all there is to know about it. Sign up for the free cow report, which has been published over 20 years. You get it every Friday. It has all kinds of emails in it from our clients, how they're doing, questions they have, what the whole thing. You can really get a good idea of what we do. On that website, you can find out about all the services we provide. And these gentlemen that are here today, I'm sure Randy will probably be here. We haven't heard from him yet. And Micah, the disappearing Micah, and Tim and myself. And it's really interesting on Micah. I don't know how many attended our session this morning, the micro moment trading session, which is 5 days a week, from when the market opens 8:30 Central to usually about 9:30, 9:45. And Micah's been having a problem over the last couple of months. He's shrinking for whatever reason. It could be the virus. But now he's so small that if you look there, you can't even see him. His camera won't even pick him up. We need to get a telephoto lens, I guess, or something.
I think so.
So you can hear him. His voice is good. He's just the man with nobody. What was that deal? There's always somebody with nobody. But anyhow, he's just a voice. But that's okay. That's what he likes. Okay, guys, we had a heck of a good day today on micro moment. I'll take that while we're waiting for Randy to come on. Up 15.03. Actual trades for today were up 11.36%. But we had 2 or 3 trades from yesterday that I didn't pick up when I sent the stuff out in the morning because I didn't see them until later on the afternoon. So I added those today. It was 11.36 without those trades added from yesterday and 15.03 now. And actually, Tim informed me that he's done a couple more right after the session ended that I'll add on tomorrow. So I don't know what they amount to. So it probably would have been close to 20% today or something like that. But anyhow, we're up 5,021% for the last 50 weeks, ending the 49th week, which was this last Friday. And that's about 102% a week. So things are going good. Right now, they're projecting some of the Wall Street guys are saying the market could, go down 50% or so. We don't care.
Yeah,
we're in it. Whichever way it goes, we just want to go one way or the other. Doesn't make any difference. And the faster, the better, as far as we're concerned.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, this micro moment sessions, they're usually an hour and 15 minutes, 5 days a week, except when the market's closed, obviously. And Micah and Tim conduct these. They actually do real trades. When they're getting ready to prep a trade, they tell you we're prepping Apple, we're prepping whatever, QQQ. They tell you when they go in and they tell you when they go out. And in the meantime, what you're learning, you're watching our proprietary charting that tells you when to go in and when to go out. What they're doing, they're teaching you how to interpret that chart, how to learn this yourself. So eventually you don't need them. But you can do it virtually when you're getting started. You don't have to use real money. You can open a virtual account for a couple $100 and you never even spend that until you finally go live. And you can just learn this. It's really simple. It's only got a couple of rules. No trades are more than probably 15, 20, 30 seconds at most. You're out. You're done for the day. You never overnight any money or anything. And then Randy, who hadn't signed in yet, and he may have a seminar going on one of our seminars right now. I don't know, but his trades are the same way. They're more traditional covered calls, buying a stock and then renting it via a leap or call, and you get ultimate leverage in his technique because you're not buying the stock, you're buying the call. You're not using margin. 50% margin is alone. It's going to kill you. It's going to wipe you out. You just get probably 95% leverage by just buying the leap and then buying the selling the call against it. And these gentlemen, Micah and Tim, same way. They have incredible leverage here without the use of margin. They're right up there in that 80 to 95% range probably. So that's sort of an introduction. And you have a keyboard. If you can type in. We're going to talk about anything you want to talk about, answer any questions you want to talk about. Bit on this technique or the other techniques, and hopefully Randy will get here and pick it up. If not, we'll just kind of explain his stuff the best we can. I'm in Puerto Rico, and we're keeping what do you call this stuff? Separation? What do they call that with the virus stuff?
Social distancing.
Social distancing.
Yeah, social distance. And we've sent Micah. He's the youngest, so we sent him the furthest out, and he's way up there in Seattle. Tim is down somewhere around Georgia. So, and again, we're in Puerto Rico, out of San Juan and Palmas del Mar, where we have no viruses. Here's Brian. Brian, we were talking about you earlier before we've been on the air. Why don't you take that, Micah?
Mike, I'm having a horrible time trying to enter a bracket trade that is a limit on the purchase price with a stop loss order as well. Would you please go through these steps again or demonstrate it? Yeah, I can show you on the on the webinar. If you're on the matrix, I think the matrix would probably be the way to do it. On any other platform, it'd be super simple, but I'm still, we've had a lot of trouble with trying to figure that out on TradeStation. The finite details of how the platform works is a little bit more complicated because it's more professional platform. So I would say the easiest way is to do it on the matrix. Because I'm not really using bracket orders right now. I switched to that ticket, which I showed you, but I know you're still on the matrix. So if you're just in the trade bar on the matrix and hit that place OCO button after you're filled, that'd probably be better. But we can talk about that more tomorrow. We have it's Friday tomorrow, so we have Frankly Friday. So if you unmute your mic, we can walk through that tomorrow.
What is that? What is that deal you do on the internet? You GoFundMe or something like that. We opened an account yesterday to get Mike a new chair, and so go fund Mike's chair. And okay, Frank, why don't you pick this one up, Tim? Hi guys.
Hi guys. On the ice charts this morning, MTQQQ between 7:27 and 7:30, the price tick was rising sharply, but E1 was relatively flat throughout the period. Why? Boy, that's a good question.
What time zone? 7:20 to 7:30?
Yeah, it's something. Yeah, what time zone? What would that be? Eastern.
I see it. So, Frank, it's a fixed case. E2 and E3 can keep going up forever, but E1 is from 0 to 100. So once it's topped out, it can't go any higher.
Yeah.
Which for a normal market is fine, but in a market that just kind of keeps going unlimitedly in either direction, it's we don't see that as much in a normal market. But that's all that's happening. It's just maxed out.
There's Brian saying he's just trying to see the trade bar, Micah.
Oh.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, okay. All right. So it'd be 10:30 my time. Okay. Yeah, Mike has already explained it.
I think if we do the well, based on all of our changes, what do you think would be good for Brian, Tim? Do you think we should have him use the trade bar with matrix as a visual, or would that be more confusing?
I am going for the easiest thing. I think just the setting in and out, going into trades and out of trades on the trade bar is the easiest thing. But I'd leave the matrix up so you can see what's going off. We've just, as Micah was saying, we've just had such a difficult time with that.
Should we do no bracket for him?
I do no bracket.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, just the easiest way to get in and out. If you want to get to the point that you have the discipline to go ahead and get out, but you want to set that sell order just as soon as you get in, so that you have it in the list in the stack, so it gets up there as quickly as possible. But that's what I'm recommending right now.
Yeah, I think if we just set up a buy to open, sell to close, one hit button, just a hit take, and it's all about timing.
Yep.
Brian, that might work better for you. And then as you get more comfortable with the technique, because you're fighting such an uphill battle right now, Brian, because you are learning this technique in the most crazy time the stock market has ever seen ever by far. And you're trying to figure out how to do this. So it's you're fighting an uphill battle, and I admire that. I want to help you through that. But things are a little different than they would normally work. So we're kind of, been having to learn on the fly as well for our clients. So I think we'll help you tomorrow. I'll just set up a hit take, which is buying on the ask, selling on the bid. TradeStation does give you better fills almost every time. The way their hit take is set up. So yeah, it'll be a lot easier. You'll have one button to click into the trade and one button to click out. Your timing will have to be a little bit better because you won't get the perfect fills, but I think that will be better for you in the long run to learn the technique.
Micah, do you think that we'll be able to see you tomorrow, or should we get a magnifying glass?
Magnifying for sure.
Okay, good.
Yeah, maybe a microscope. I'm feeling pretty molecular today.
Okay, let's get some more questions here.
Micah, E1 between 720 and 730 was at 95.41, never got to 100. Yeah, so that's just the case. So the limit of it, it's the box itself is 100. I can't go into all of the math exactly, but the box itself is 100. So for E1 to actually get to 100, it has to be the most extreme sort of push that's possible, because that's the absolute maximum. So we were moving, up today, but nothing groundbreaking happened. E1 was probably maxed out when we hit something like, the first couple days of the virus news, things like that, 2,400 point day. But it also pulls back off of that so quickly because it's such a short-term indicator that it doesn't take it much to back it off from those upper 90s. And we usually don't see it in the upper 90s anyway. So, yeah, I just meant the box itself, but it still hovers within that.
Okay. Somebody give us some more questions here.
For anybody that's totally lost, E1 is one of the indicators on our proprietary chart.
Okay. Here's Ted. Ted says, hi. When the market is better than this, how will the trades be better? How will the graphs look? Thanks. So one of you guys wants to take that.
Sure. Yeah, I'll take that. What we're going to see are, you see what's happening now. We have a lot of very choppiness. When we get into what we were experiencing before this period, we're going to see more extended legs of a move. It'll tend to when we have a good move, it'll tend to go outside of the Bollinger Bands much further. And more importantly, we're going to see more movement in the option chain. What's happening right now is the deltas just seem to be so out of whack that they don't even relate anymore. We were seeing 50-cent legs in the underlying stock move, and then see maybe 2 cents of movement in the option chain. So and keep in mind that the options, they have their own market, right? They have their own supply and demand, and that supply and demand has become largely uncoupled with the underlying stock. When we get back to normal market, we'll see more of the option chain tracking with the underlying stock, and we'll have more predictability in it. Right now, it's just so hard to rely on a momentum move. If you're watching the option chain, you're seeing it just get glued at a price on the bid. You're watching the tick rise and rise, and the option chain isn't moving. That's one of the biggest things. Micah, what do you got?
I completely agree. Yeah. And I was thinking about the question that we got asked about that today. I think it was Martha. Why is it a lack of movement? I think another large part of it is you can see, you can fit, once you see an option chain for a while, you can physically see what panic looks like in an option chain, the way it moves, the way it flutters. And I know that sounds silly, but you literally, if you stare at, I can't tell you how many hours I've spent staring at an option chain. You really can't. And you pick up on things that your brain can process, and so you can see panic, you can see, everybody gung-ho, you can see hesitation. And I think the biggest thing right now is the uncertainty in the market. Nobody knows when the next 2100 point day will be, and you can see the hesitation in the actual stock, and it's magnified, I believe, in the option chain because of how much more volatile they are. Martha, you're usually on here. If you are, that's I think the real answer to your question is there's so much uncertainty around what the next day will do. It's got people feeling not as invincible. Everybody, thinks that they can just predict the direction of anything, and right now they're starting to realize that they can't. So they're a lot less likely to make clear, succinct choices.
I think you've got a heck of a vivid imagination.
I do.
To see all that stuff in those crazy charts.
Yeah,
just incredible.
That's when you've been staring at them for years on end.
Yeah, and you take it out. You take your frustrations out on the apple.
or she takes them out on him. I'm not.
That's right.
Yeah.
which way it is.
Okay, Frank says my E1 case top numbers is 115.
Yeah, they added room for the label, for the E1 label, so it wouldn't get behind it. You'll notice E2 and E3 never touch the label as well. So they opened up that scale a little bit to fit it.
Yeah.
You can see there's actually room above 115 too. That's just to fit the font that says E1.
Are you doing a deal, Tim?
Thinking about it. He's thinking about getting this put. I saw it in your eyes.
No, I'm just, yeah, he is. It's amazing. He can just look at my eyes and see what trade I'm in and can predict the strike price and everything. He's done that with several people.
It's either that, people can't see. They don't understand why your head keeps going back and forth so much. I figure most people think it's some kind of like physical defect you've got or something like that. It's really because you're looking at the screens, right?
Began to look like a physical defect. No, I'm just I've got on my left side, I've got one screen devoted to the charts, and on the other side, I've got my my trading platform set up. So just kind of looking back and forth.
If you were more imaginative like Micah, he thinks he's looking at a soap opera on TV. He's going back and forth. He thinks it's a real movie.
It's true though. Symbols have personality. I don't care what anyone says.
This could be a game. We ought to do like a macro moment trading game and sell it to people. And and Micah can interpret what the things look like, and people will learn that.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. I've got SPY, Microsoft, and Q, set up, and I look at the relationship between the three. And SPY and Q tend to track relatively closer together, but Microsoft is really kind of moved a bit in its own realm this morning, somewhat similar. But you can kind of see, I'm looking at SPY, and the Bollinger Bands are twice as wide as they are on Q, which gives us an indication of what confidence or not confidence is going on in that sector, right? I'm looking at Q, which is tracking the NASDAQ 100, which is made up mostly of technical companies, and it just shows me, maybe there's not as quite the confidence in the technical sector as there is in what is SPY track? Is that financials, Micah?
S&P 500.
Oh, the S&P 500. Yeah. So people are more confident in a wider range of of stocks in the QQQ. But just it's interesting, and Microsoft tends to pull up the queue, of course, since it's part of it.
I think that's good though, because I don't think we'll get any sort of normalization in the market until things start to separate from each other.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, the market is supposed to have all sorts of things moving up or down in different routes to keep it balanced.
Yeah.
And for the past 2 weeks, if anything moves down 1 penny, everything else does. Right? Every move is tracked exactly. Every chart looked identical because it didn't have any own reason. There was no company news that mattered. Nothing. It was all just the main market dragging it. So
yeah, Mike, you want to get Frank's question there?
Yeah, can you explain E4 and what causes it to move above or below the zero line? Yeah, roughly. That's another. It's hard because we can't ever fully explain the actual functionality of the charts because it is a proprietary thing, and if obviously it's a thing we sell a subscription to, so we need to keep that private. but the general function of it is it shows it's a volume indicator at its core. Keep that in mind. Just like the standard volume bars on any chart, but it's influenced by buyers and selling pressure, buying and selling pressure. And in a general sense, if it's above the zero line, the volume, it shows the increase and decrease of the volume, but it shows that above zero or on a green bar, you're going towards buying pressure, meaning the sellers are giving up and the sellers are holding strong, and they have to go into the higher side of that purchase. And then vice versa. When you see the red bars, when you see it cross down through zero, it still shows you the volume change, but also lets you know that the sellers are winning and the buyers, that's switched sides of what pressure. Now, obviously, in every transaction, there's a buyer and a seller, but whoever wins is the one that doesn't move.
Here's something interesting. Larry Fink, I never have trusted him. Larry Fink says that the virus last month probably marked the bottom of the market. Then you go back up here, and you've got hedge fund Elliott says stocks fall 50% from February's highs. Now, people, speculators, investors read that stuff, and they don't know what to do. I mean, some of you think this is complicated, what we're talking about. It's not, because we don't hear. The thing that you can't tell anything about, what's the market going to do? We know exactly and precisely what our technique's going to do. We don't worry about the market. We just want it to go one way or the other, and we don't care which way it goes. And sometimes it's the questions that people are calling in. They've been doing this, and they've got more technical questions because they're trying to do it every day. But remember, you can get in this using virtual money, and it probably within a month, you're expert enough to leave virtual money and start making these returns on your own, because they're teaching you 5 days a week, every movement in that chart and what that means and what you should do based on what that chart's doing. They're not speculating. They're not asking you to speculate, because we don't speculate. You just have to learn, and it takes discipline, because most people always think they know something better. And invariably, the people that communicate with us on those webinars every day will tell us they start off, they do great, they do fantastic, and then all of a sudden they start doing bad because they start changing the rules, because they thought this was going to happen, this was going to go. Well, you don't think. You just follow the chart. And Tim can tell you that when Tim first started off, he did fantastic. Then he got smart, and then they lost a lot of money. Then he came back to being a rule follower. So
that's right. That's been the biggest challenge my whole life, is following rules.
There you go. That's right.
But this will quickly teach you.
Well, it's human nature. Why do people get parking tickets? Why do they get stop sign tickets? Why do they run red lights? Why do they have car wrecks?
Right.
Because they don't follow the rules.
Right.
So why is Mike shrinking? Who knows? Yeah. Obviously, he's not following the rules somewhere.
Karmic shortening, we'll call it.
Karmic shortening. There you go. Oh, that's funny.
Well, we're into about 30 minutes here. If you have any questions, let's get them out here. So we overran our time last time, but
that's true.
Tim and Mike, whichever one you guys want to take.
Tim, Micah, when you've entered into position and are evaluating when to exit, are you watching and deciding on the tick, on the ice chart, or the bid in the option chart? I am keeping a close eye on the bid. I'm watching the charts, but I'm watching the chart first, right? I mean, my option chain is moving before the tick has a chance to react to it. So that's where I'm looking first to see what's going on. And I will decide my exit on that. When I see a change in the option chain, I'll make my decision. The charts are confirming, right? But the option chain is live. It's the most in the moment indicator that I have. So I'm always keeping an eye on that.
Yep.
As I'm doing right now, as a matter of fact.
Larry, your profile picture on YouTube really looks like a young Bill Gates.
Me?
No, Larry's.
Oh, Larry's. Yes.
Yeah. Did you notice that too? He's playing the next one, I think. Yeah. I was like, yeah, look at that.
Yeah, he really does. What is he playing the saxophone or something?
I think so. Yeah.
Well, we got, and Tim's got all those guitars behind him. He could be a good member of our band. Here's Al Carr. Go ahead, somebody take him.
Other than Forex, substantially all of my equity trades are handled by Tastyworks. Do you guys have experience to comment on whether there are brokers which have better opening closing trades? No, it's really just what you're comfortable with, right? The level you have to be at to notice the difference between, the fills on TradeStation or Thinkorswim or E-Trade, like to recognize that finite of a difference. You're going to get a lot more difference just out of baseline internet and your location in the country than you are on the individual platforms, because they have to be to a certain level even to be in the market. So Tastyworks is a much smaller company, but their commissions are amazing. They've always had the best commissions. I've never traded on them, but if you keep it super simple and just buy at the bid, buy at the ask and sell on the bid on those options, then they have options trading or no, and they have really good commissions. So I don't think Tastyworks would be terrible, but if you're finding you're having trouble filling, you just kind of gotta test it out. There's really no way around it.
Yeah, and I wonder about that because each of the brokers and the platforms, they are all submitting their trades into the same market makers, right? There's a finite group of market makers who are pulling groups of contracts and buying and selling them. But I'd be curious to know if there is actually a difference, if market makers actually prefer, or if they even know where these orders are coming from.
Hey, Joe, from your days back on Wall Street, do you know any market makers or brokers?
Yep. There's not as many, back in the heyday, which was back when I was in there. They're all live and they all got these little messages they scream at each other. And one of the things right now, I know one of the biggest brokers up there with people working from home, they say it's really disrupted their floor where they scream at each other and make all these trades because they can't do it. And it seems to be part of the folklore that you can hear all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's been disappearing. Like the New York Stock Exchange doesn't have the live floor anymore.
Yeah.
And the rest of them were slowly less and less activity on those live floors and more electronic.
Well, is the CBOT is all electronic, isn't it? At this point,
CBOE, you mean?
CBOE.
Yeah, it's all electronic.
Yeah, so it must have gotten awful quiet there.
Do you?
I'm just. Go ahead, Micah.
Oh, sorry. Do you think any of them would be willing to, is it a conflict of interest? Do you think anyone would be willing to kind of maybe give us a little webinar or something like that to kind of explain how it works?
Yeah. I do LaRouche. It's been a long time, but because that's when I was back in there would have been 1975 and 6, something like that, And so yeah. Oh yeah, and they love it. They love it because they really love to talk.
I would.
Sort of like you, Mike. I mean, it would be a real,
Yeah.
I would love to have one of those guys come on and just give us some insight from that end of the market. That would be fascinating.
Okay, I'll find somebody.
Yeah,
that'd be phenomenal. I don't know why I didn't think of that earlier, but
that's a good thought, Mike. That'd be a lot of fun. People enjoy it. So,
yeah.
And there's such a curtain, the green curtain.
Yeah.
The green curtain around it. Like, you don't know what's going on. It's like this elusive world. What does a market maker actually do? And it's really interesting, I think.
Well, what's fascinating about it and the way they worked, they'd scream something and somebody somewhere wrote it down. And I mean, they're screaming all this stuff all the time, and how in the world are they keeping up with that?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, they did I forget. The last couple of weeks, I saw an interview on one of the financial channels where they were, I think it was the last day of live floor trading. And she was demonstrating the finger signals that would get, by 3,000 and they do all this and get confirmation from the other end. And it moved at lightning speed.
Yep.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, Joe, what did you trade when you were a floor trader? What were you trading? What was your area?
No, I was doing financials.
Financials.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But mine was electronic. I was with Merrill at the time, Merrill Lynch.
Okay.
And it was mainly electronic. In fact, one of the things that they noticed in that article I was reading a couple of days ago about the disruption that the virus things caused, not having those guys on the floor. And they're working from home, the biggest thing a lot of them miss is not necessarily not being around the other people, but their phones that have all these automatic dialers to their clients, where they can call somebody and say, hey, okay, I've got $30 million, and the guys are do it, whatever,
Yeah.
And they don't have that, and so they're having to look the numbers up or have them in a rolling down something, There's Roberto DaCosta. Okay.
Roberto, I have heard of direct brokers like Lightspeed that fill more quickly. They are a more professional broker. Okay.
Yeah, TradeStation supposedly does that too. There's supposedly a direct to market type of connection. But I've traded on TradeStation, which is a direct to market, and E-Trade, which is not. And it's not much of a difference. Like, you might notice it if you're doing like high frequency algo trading or something like that, but beyond that, it's going to be negligible.
Yeah.
One other thing that now that I think back in the olden days, but when options started, which was about 20 years ago, where you could really do it, find the stuff on the internet, Merrill didn't have any of that, and they were so primitive. You couldn't do anything. Like in the state of Florida, there was one person that was authorized for Merrill Lynch to do options. The only one in the whole state of Florida. Out of all the offices, there was only one guy. And look at it today. I mean, things have changed so much, and the brokers being decimated because of the no commission stuff and all that kind of stuff. They're just really difficult for them. So
yeah.
I wonder if we're going to see continued consolidation. The big guys are going to gobble up the small guys, or
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And the big guys are going to get smaller, and that's happening too. I mean, they're getting rid of so many of their traditional broker type people, And
is that because of the commission drop that happened?
Oh yeah, sure. Because the guys can't make nearly as much money without the commissions.
Wow.
So.
Wow. Well, as long as they don't mess with our options.
But to show you how they were so full of it back then. One time we had this. I was in the Miami office, and we had this guy come down from New York, and from Merrill, the office in New York, and he was probably, Danny DeVito. He made Danny DeVito look tall. And so there's this stage, and they've got the what do you call it thing that they speak behind. You can hardly see his head, and he gets up there, and all of a sudden he's pounding on the top of it. All you see is his hands like that, and he's screaming. Now all these guys, all of us were brokers and traders, And he said, "You've got the right to go and take the money your client has and do anything you want to with it. You're licensed to do that. You can take their money and do anything you want." Now that was the streets, philosophy, and
It sounds like the Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh yeah, exactly, and that was sort of back during that period,
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely.
Crazy.
So, okay, well, we're about. Anybody have any late questions? We're be ending up here shortly.
Yeah.
Brian, if you're still on, let me know when you're on tomorrow, and we can go over that.
Also, we might ask tomorrow, since tomorrow's Talk Friday, if we have any people that used to be traders.
Mm-hmm.
We may well have, because we've got clients that go back 20 years, and most of them are still clients. And so it's probably, I'm sure somebody was there at one point or another.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can learn something from everyone that's been in, different spots.
Yeah.
It's so different. There's a lot of ways to make money in the world of trading, but everybody does it so differently.
Yeah.
So I think any insight we can get would be cool.
Yep. Love to hear. It'd be fascinating.
Well, I think as time goes by, there'll be more techniques like ours. Our techniques have developed over the years. So, the three of us may be doing this one, except Mike, of course, it will be too small to get around the computer. But we'll be doing variations, because there's already variations. You guys come up with different ways of doing things, and but it all gets back to the rules. That's why Randy, in his much more complicated covered call stuff, there's so many more rules, does so well. I mean, he's been doing it now, teaching that with us for 14 or 15 years. Mm-hmm. And the people that finally learn the rules, stick with it, make incredible amounts of money. And as you know, when he comes on here, we say, well, what have you done this week? He says, I've got 150% of blah, 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 this, that, and the other. Here's James. What is the best way to get started with the service? Good question. You guys want to take that?
That's a great question. To get started with the service, sign up. Yep. Join us every morning. Get the charts and start learning and come up to speed. But, get our service and join us every morning at 9:30 Eastern time.
Central time. No, 9:30 Eastern time. You're correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, when he says get the charts, when you sign up for subscribe to their service, you get that proprietary, very, very, very advanced charting. That's with the deal. Mm-hmm. And we have what's called a toolbox. And toolbox is more designed for people doing traditional covered calls where you're buying the stock and renting it. And there's multiple techniques in there, including the same chart that we use, the advanced charting. You don't need the toolbox and this service. You just need this service because it's going to have the toolbox in it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to have the advanced charting in it. And then don't open a regular account. We'll open a regular account, just don't use it, and make them shoot over to do your trades in a virtual account. They'll give you about $100,000, $80,000, something like that in a virtual account. Do it there. It's just like real trading, and you'll be amazed all of a sudden. You do it, and then you start putting some real money and doing some real trades with real money. But you can do just one trade at a time with real money. And
so all that can be found, the intro stuff, at micromomenttrading.com. And if you have any questions, James, you can go and email support@micromomenttrading.com for any subscription type questions. And that should get you off to a pretty good start.
And those are daily. And then we've had our first live seminar in Fort Worth several months ago. We're going to have another in March, but all this stuff came along, so we didn't do it. So obviously the next time we have the opportunity to have people group together, we'll have another one of those seminars. And it's really great to come to Fort Worth, and there are a lot of people there, and we buy everybody a dinner and we buy everybody drinks, and everybody gets to come over and we'll get to come over and pet Mike in his little chair. And so we have a lot of fun. And the people that came to that first seminar, we only had like 22, 25, because that's all we wanted. And we didn't even do it online. Normally, for years and years and years, we've always done the live seminars, and it's also an online component. So no matter where you are in the world, you can also attend. And so we'll be starting that back up. But a very successful seminar. It really was, yeah. So.
Yeah, looking forward to that time when we can all get together again. But we'd love to have you. Love to have you join us in the mornings and learn to trade with our family.
And you hear what the other people are doing. I mean, you have the ability. On Friday, we opened up to the phones, so you can talk on the phone, all that kind of stuff. during the week, there's a question and answer box. People make comments, whatever, and we respond to every single one of them. And they just do fantastic.
Yeah, and I think part of that is, we have a very interactive community. We support each other when we win, and we commiserate when we don't. But we mostly win. Let me put that in. We mostly win. But we have a nice interactive community, so it's great. You can get feedback. You can see what other people are doing. There's a lot of transparency in what we do in the mornings, which is very cool.
We have some examples of that too on our Facebook and our LinkedIn. I made a bunch of short little videos, 1 to 4 minutes, and they just show little snapshots of what happens in the morning. They're either of individual trades. Sometimes they're, us answering questions while actually talking to one of the clients on the air, something like that. There's like 20 of them or something like that, I think. So
I think when he says little snapshots, he's thinking of the ones of him.
Oh yeah.
Micah, you're going to be sorry you ever shared that with us.
I know. My back therapy to myself.
It's just.
If anyone's super confused, this morning I woke up and my lower back was like stiff as a board. And I'm 22 years old and was trading in the morning with a heat pack on my back. And I could like sit up straight or try to. That's what he's. And I'm getting shorter, according to the doctor.
No, that's serious. I mean, well, even you discovered that yourself even before you went to the doctor about it.
Yeah, I felt like I was, because you have those conversations with your peers and they're like, oh no, I'm taller than you. And you're, 15, so you want to be the tallest. Yeah. You're like explaining, oh no, I'm taller.
Yeah.
And then, one day you realize you're saying, well, I used to be taller than you. I remember
when we met you on that CSE cruise down in the Caribbean that you were taller then. Maybe it's just wrong, but when I saw you at the live seminar in Fort Worth, which was 6 or 7 years later.
According to the doctor, around that time, I was like 5'9", just over 5'9". Yeah. Yeah. So crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I've never been accused of being taller than anyone else at 5'6", so.
Well, you're taller than me too.
Typically the shortest guy.
2/3 of the way there.
This has to be one of the most unusual financial podcasts on the face of the earth.
Right. Hey, it's unconventional, so I think we're okay.
Yeah, is that what it is? Yes, unconventional wisdom. There you go.
There you go. Yeah. Okay, does anybody have any last questions? Because we're 42 minutes in. Usually we run about 42, 45 minutes. So you answer those questions. Nope. Well, thanks everybody for being here. Remember, go to our website, www.micromomenttrading.com. It's also /CSE website. Find out about everything we do and been doing it for over 20 years. And so check all that stuff out and come back here next Thursday again. And thanks very much for being here, everybody. And thank you guys for being here. And Micah, is that thing we've got it right now has got somebody had a little chart thing on it with an arrow. I think we're next Thursday, it'll just be a little stick person.
Oh, there we go. That's our logo. You don't like it?
See y'all later.
All right, guys. Take care.
Thank you, Marcus.
Thanks, Marcus.